Welcome back, Syndicate members. I do apologize for the delay. My alter ego works a full-time job to keep the mortgage paid around here, so I like to cut him a little bit of slack. Anyways, I'm Joshua Mammoth, act like a vertebrae, and here to review another independent comic. These next reviews will be from some books I picked up at this year's Megacon here in Orlando. Shout out to my awesome brother-in-law Woody for hooking us up with tickets. It gave me a great opportunity to meet some local artists and also pick up a few independent books. Tonight's selection is a book I picked up at a previous con. However, Joel Rodriguez had a book at this year's Megacon, and I was able to pick up his second issue and spin-off series. So with that being said, I bring you the Dusk County Chronicles, written by Joel Rodriguez, art by Roman Gubsky, and produced by Metal Ninja Studios, possibly the most badass comic book company name. The cover on this book is a high-gloss showstopper, and pay attention to the details as it gives us some clues as to what's on the inside. I also love the large title at the top with the logo on the bottom left. Mine is also personally signed right here. The inside cover has a quick breakdown of each story within, and this biscuit has 4 reads. However, I really didn't notice that at first, as the first story is pure parody magic, entitled A Friend and Me, which takes on a whole new meaning. It seems the family van has run out of gas, and as the family walks to the nearest station, the toys are left alone. And as we all know, toys take on a whole new life when no one is around. On this occasion, Astro has snapped, and by page 3, he's on a murderous rampage. I love how we're drawn into this generic soccer mom van as it morphs into the scene of a sci-fi horror movie. I was positive I was about to see something very special, and Astro didn't disappoint. His first victim, Teddy Bear, or should I say, Shreddy Bear. Things really pick up from here as Alice and the cowboy make a pointless attempt to hide. But why was it pointless? Well, Astro ropes the cowboy up Tom Horn style, while Alice makes another failed escape attempt, leaving her open for another attack. And this is the part where things get creepy and a little weird, as Astro falls to his back right before the kill, knocking his helmet off. Alice looks at his seemingly dead Astro when a rabid slinky dog bursts from his chest, and believe me, he wasn't singing Hello My Baby. And this teledread ends with a wide shot of the van, leaving us wondering. The second tale is entitled Forever Young, and it has a stunning interior cover. Once again, we're given subtle clues as to what the story is about. On a side note, this was my favorite story in the book, as it puts a twisted spin on an old childhood classic. Jenny and her mom have been fighting ever since her brother Miles and father went missing. Her mom thinks they're dead, but Jenny knows otherwise. And Miles has been on her mind tonight, remembering of a time that he told her about his friend and his lost boys. Miles then shows up at the window and enters. Jenny, clearly upset by the fight with her mom, decides to join Miles and never grow old. Miles, excited by Jenny's decision, tells her that she'll soon learn how to float. And I absolutely love this panel. Here, take a look at it. The perspective of Miles as Jenny looks up is absolutely incredible. Jenny is fed up, so she's bailing. Things take a pretty dark turn here as a revengeful Jenny sets fire to her house and follows Miles outside. She arrives at the forest edge and we see a curling smile in the dark, surrounded by the creepiest of kids. And we also see this, a clown shoe. Jenny soon realizes this was a trick, and upon trying to run back to her approaching mom, is snatched and pulled back into the darkness. Her mom looks at the forest in disbelief, and as the story ends, it leaves us with a pressing question. Did Jenny learn to float? And on to story 1.3, entitled Mind Games. Don't be fooled by the cover, this is anything but your typical superhero story. We're really pulled into the current events of Mind Games with the first 2 pages here. In a news broadcast hosted by Dusk County's own Stephanie Wardlow, we see that criminal mastermind Medusa made a failed attempt to rob a bank earlier using her hypnosis abilities. A commander once again saves the day, and Stephanie mentions that Medusa's partner was absent, when breaking news hits and we learn that Medusa has escaped custody en route to the Dusk County Corrections Facility. These pages were really my favorite part of the entire comic, and I love this broadcast scene. It not only sets up the entire story perfectly, but the new scroll at the bottom is really the cherry on top. Once the page is turned, however, the story becomes warped and dark. The commander, out of costume, presses play on a tape recorder and leaves the basement with someone strapped to a chair, as he takes a creepy, casual stroll through his home, down a hallway filled with pictures, and into his dining room to enjoy dinner with his family. We read some brilliant narration here reminiscent of a horror franchise, as the commander explains that Medusa could have used her abilities to help mankind, but chose to be a criminal instead. So it was the commander that took Medusa out of custody and planted her in his basement. And this last page is really the showpiece of the book, as we see a terrifying Medusa, a neck bomb with 4 minutes, and a stop button with spikes attached. It's very simple. Disarm the caller, the cost, her eyes, and she has 4 minutes to decide. The fourth and final tale is entitled Just Right, and this was a great, fast-paced short story to end this fantastic book. It begins with a knock at the door and a girl entering into a dark cabin. Her car is broken down, her phone is dead, and she's looking for help. The cabin appears to be empty until she hears voices coming from the back, and because this is a horror story, she must investigate. The voices lead her through the dining room into the kitchen, where she peeks around the corner, revealing a horrific scene. That is, 3 werewolf creatures enjoying the snack of a murdered blonde. She fails to hold her scream in, and the chase scene begins through the woods. This scene is one of pure terror, as the panels are dark, really putting you into the story. Unfortunately, bitten on the ankle, a girl is caught just a couple of miles outside Dusk County. Carried back on the shoulder of a werewolf, she begs not to be eaten. However, they tell her that she's not going to be. In fact, while surrounded by the usual suspects of horror monsters, she's told that the first one was too lively, Goldie was too dead, but she is just right. And when the question marked the end, the last of the Tales of Dread is finished. And now for my special analysis of the book. First off is what I liked about the Dusk County Chronicles. Well, I mentioned it at the beginning, this high-gloss cover is sharp as a razor. It really pops. And not only does this book have a main cover, it also has 4 interior covers, all with a great decimal number. Also in Forever Young, the outside lines of the panels really added to the darkness of the story. Next is what I really liked about this comic. First was the newsfeed for Mind Games. I spent a while looking over the panels as there's so much to analyze here. And speaking of Mind Games, that splash page at the end deserves another look at. I didn't mention it in the review, but Medusa's partner can be seen dead in the corner here. And finally is what I loved about the Dusk County Chronicles. 4 independent horror stories, all with more twists and turns than my spinal cord in the 6th grade. While we're on that note, Gubsky absolutely nailed the art. From the terror van, to the commander's casual stroll, werewolves and the facial expressions in Forever Young made the stories a lot of fun to read. The last page is an ad for the Dusk County Chronicles 2, which is already out, and I already have one, and I strongly suggest that you grab these books too. So I want to put a special thank you out to Joel for allowing me to review his work, and another thank you out to my brother-in-law Woody. I was able to meet Joel and pick up his books at Megacon. All of Metal Ninja Studios' information is down below. Please check out their work, support independent comics, and tell them Joshua Mammoth sent you. I also make independent comics. They're all available at mammothsyndicate.com. If you have your own independent comic and you'd like me to review it, shoot me an email at comics@mammothsyndicate.com. Also, like and subscribe to be part of the Mammothverse. And finally, thank you for watching this review. And remember that between the known and the unknown lies the mammoth. I'll see you next time.